Avi, where were you on the morning of October the 7th?
So I was at home with my wife, with my kids. I'd actually woken up for shul that morning. My brother-in-law, who's a lone soldier, Chayil Boded in the paratroopers, he was staying by us at Shabbat. We have young kids. And I walked outside on my way to shul, and I noticed something very strange. There was a security vehicle outside our house, and there were two men in the talitot, the traditional Jewish prayer shawl, and they were hunched over the window, into the window of the driver's seat with their phone, which is obviously something that Orthodox Jews don't have on the Sabbath, right? You don't use technology. And they were basically speaking to this person's security. I immediately had a bad feeling that something was up because that was a very unusual sight. And as I began walking to shul, my neighbor quickly approached me and he asked me if I'd heard the news. I said no. And he said, listen, my son's already been called up. You should quickly switch on your phone and see the news. You might be called up as well. So I quickly returned home, switched on my phone, which is, again, something that's forbidden during the Sabbath, but you're temporarily allowed to break the rules of Shabbat in order to save a life. And defense is included in that. And immediately I saw what had happened, and I also had my reserve duty call-up papers waiting for me on my phone. My commander had already texted me and said, get to base as quickly as possible. So all of a sudden there was this sort of jarring dissonance between the normalcy of Shabbat morning. We were in the middle of our festival of Simchat Torah, where we celebrate the end of the Torah reading cycle and the beginning of the new cycle. My wife downstairs in the kitchen humming, preparing the beautiful meal. We had guests that were supposed to come over. The kids just playing nonchalantly downstairs. And all of a sudden I have to run upstairs, grab my uniform, my dusty uniform, my kit, my gear, and I have to get to base as quickly as possible. Just like this really, really surreal sort of feeling, and just that dissonance between the rush to get to base and wondering what's going to be, when am I going to see my family again, my wife, my kids, and then this perfectly set table, the Shabbat table with the napkins and the cutlery and the guests, and the meal that I'll never actually take part in was quite jarring. So I quickly said goodbye to my wife and to my kids and ran to base.
How did they cope with that goodbye?
I don't think that they really understood what it meant. Like it was, I think my wife just assumed that this was something that'll be temporary and quick and I'd be back that evening. But only after she managed to check her phone once the Shabbat came out, did she fully understand what this was. And, I'm here in the reserves now, and they say the IDF's the people's army, right? Like we're really people here in their 30s, their 40s, they're all like family men and women. Everyone here is sort of left behind their lives, their homes, parents, children, spouses, jobs. And they've come here, and like a lot of us haven't seen our families in over a month. And we're just like very determined, we're very focused, and that's just the nature of what it is, right? Like, this is where we have to be right now. So now my wife's at home, she's raising the 3 kids alone. And we have an amazing community of neighbors, a support network that has really gone above and beyond to take care of my wife and other wives that are in a similar situation right now, whose husbands are on duty. So you really also, in difficult, tragic moments like these, you also see the beauty of the Jewish people and the unity of how everyone comes together.